All right, so gather that. Okay, today we're going to head to Mark chapter 3, verses 20 to 25. And as you're getting there, I just want to quickly tell you that today I'm not going to be doing so much of preaching, but rather I'm going to be kind of teaching a little bit. Is that all right? And it's a little bit of a tough one, but it's going to be a good one. And so are you prepared to be encouraged this morning? Say amen. All right. Now, are you prepared to be challenged this morning? Say a bigger amen. All right. Okay, let's go. So Mark chapter 3, verses 20 to 25. All right, here we go. One time Jesus entered a house and the crowds began to gather again. Soon he and his disciples couldn't even find time to eat. When his family heard what was happening. All right, really quick pit stop here. Did you know that Jesus had a family? I mean, I just want to remind you all of that. And you might be a little bit glad because his family was as jacked up as your family. I mean, totally dysfunctional as yours. And so I want you to see what's going on here. So verse 21, when his family heard what was happening as in he's kicking out demons, he's healing people, they didn't throw him a party. They didn't even celebrate him. And I know that some of you wish that your parents would do more of celebrating of you, of great jobs that you've done. But guess what? Jesus' family was never excited about what was going on. And this is what happens when they hear what was happening. It says they tried to take him away. Okay, so they basically try to kidnap the guy, and they're going, he is out of his mind, and that's what they told him about Jesus. And verse 22, but the teachers of religious law who had arrived from Jerusalem said, he's possessed by Satan, the prince of demons. That's where he gets the power to cast out demons. So Jesus called them over and responded with this illustration. He goes, how can Satan cast out Satan? He asked. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. And this is, okay, verse 25. I want you to go there with me in your mind's eye, okay? I want you to visualize Jesus, okay? And I'm thinking he's given a little bit of a side eye to his family who's there, probably his brothers and sisters, and Mary's standing there. He's giving them a little bit of a side eye, and then maybe even a little bit snarl. But this is how he says, okay? He goes, by the way, verse 25, a family that is splintered by feuding will fall apart. A family that is splintered by feuding will fall apart. Here's the title of my message this morning. Splinters in the family tree. All right, splinters in the family tree. Now, it's not a coincidence that Jesus actually refers to family members and demons in one paragraph. In one paragraph. It's like, I don't think he's mentioning that because he's trying to say that family members are demons. And you're probably like, well, Pastor V, I just had Thanksgiving. I know there's a couple of them in my side of the family or his side of the family. All right, I know you're thinking that, but that's not why Jesus is doing that here. I believe that Jesus is actually mentioning family members and demons in one paragraph because he's acknowledging the fact that we have two battlefields in our lives. The battles that we face when we go out of our home and the battles that we face when we come back home. And I think that a lot of the times the battles that we face inside of our home is a lot more worse. It's a lot more complex. It's a lot more harder and tougher to navigate. And it's more difficult. And we have to face it every day when we come home. It's a lot more difficult rather than the ones that are out there. For example, you might have been told, you always knew that you're going to eventually have problems with your supervisor. But you probably never thought that you'd have issues with your sibling for years and years and you won't be talking to them. Maybe you always thought, you were told that to avoid the people that are always putting you down in life. But what do you do if the person that is putting you down is a parent? What do you do then? What do you do if, people have been probably telling you, you got to handle challenges. And when they come, you have to navigate them. But what about when it feels like every challenge that you're navigating is coming from your children? How about, I've always asked for a husband at a young age and I wanted a family and I didn't know what I was asking when I was asking for a husband and I didn't know that I was going to have war every single day. Not our marriage, honey. I still love you, boo. So that's not it, okay? Not my marriage. That's your marriage. I'm talking about, okay? All right. Mama always told me that someone will hurt me. I was prepared for that hurt, but I just didn't know that was going to happen because it's going to come from my wife. Number one, and it's a problem. It's a problem, and it hurts in our families, in our homes. And there are some reasons why it hurts a little bit more inside of our home than it does outside. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons. Number one, because that's not supposed to be home. Okay? Home is supposed to be a place where we recharge to go into the world and deal with the battles in the world. Let me give you an example. I have a phone, right? I have an iPhone, and it has a home. So every morning I get my phone up and we go and conquer the world. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Apple iPhone. You know, I Google, I answer questions. We got this. And then at night, I bring it back and it comes home. And its home is right next to my bed stand. There's a little nightstand there and it charges. It charges all night. And so that the next morning we can do what we have to do. See, some of you guys are so out of energy and so out of strength because that home that is supposed to be recharging you is now draining you. And so every day you get up, you go to work, low battery. You go into dealing with, you come to church, low battery. Every time you try to go meet a friend, low battery. Every time you try to have something fun, to go out and eat, low battery. You just don't have the energy for it. Because what home is supposed to be is a place where it's recharging zone. And if it's not doing it for you, that means there's issues in the house that we need to deal with. There's splinters, there's feuding inside of our homes. And I think that the battles that we face at home are so much harder than the ones that we deal with outside. And here's part of another reason. I want to give you an analogy. Think about a castle, okay? A big, tall castle, and it's 4 walls around us. And we get on top of that castle at the very tiptoe, and we look out and we see enemies coming. We're like, okay, we got this. I know how to defend myself. But then what happens when the attack comes within the walls? You would be expecting an attack that way, but you never expect it to come that way. You're not prepared. You wouldn't be prepared. It's like when I was a kid, we used to have this game. I'd always be like trying to be tough, right? So I'd be like, go ahead, punch me. Have you guys ever played that game? I told my friends, I'm like, go ahead, punch me. And I would stiffen up my belly and I would grip it and then they would punch and I'd be like, ha, I told you I'm strong, right? But what happens when you get punched without even being told? How do you deal with something like that? You're not prepared. You're going to be out of breath. And you're going, how do I deal with this attack that is coming from within? And I think that's the reason we're not prepared. And there's another reason why it's difficult to deal with things at home. It's because society never really gives us a safe place to do so. Because if you think about it, when we deal with society and we tell them, hey, I got issues at work and my supervisor did this and this, and they're like, you've got this, man, I'm backing you up. You can take care of this. You can do this at work. And they're cheering you and they're celebrating you. But when you start sharing about the problems at home, where you're having issues with your husband or your siblings or your sister, your brother, mother, whoever it is, then celebration turns to shame. Like if you're fighting the battle out there, it's okay. But the society that never encourages the battles that we're facing inside of our home. And they don't want to talk about it. But guess what? This morning, we're going to talk about it. I want to talk about it with you today, not to avoid it, but to get through it and to leverage it in a way where you are bettering yourself this morning and also at the same time giving glory to God. That's where I want to be at this morning. So are you ready for that this morning? All right, good. I said a lot of this morning. It is this morning. Okay, so the enemy is always trying tactics to turn you away from God. How many know that there's temptations that we deal with? We deal with a lot of things. And I know that when the enemy is convinced that he can't make us turn away from God through temptations and things of that sort, he has a plan B. And the plan B is that if he can't get you to turn away from God, he's going to make you turn on your family. Now, I know this is true because I see it in the book of Genesis. All right. The moment that he got Adam and Eve to sin and get taken out of that garden, I know that they fought. I mean, it's not written in the scriptures, but you know there was a fight. I don't think there was a fight. The first fight was soldier against soldier, nation after nation. But I think it was between a husband and wife. Like, we don't see it in scripture, but you know it happened, right? Because sin had entered, and you know this has happened. Like, somewhere between chapter 3 and chapter 4, I think there's a chapter 3.5 that God goes, I don't think I want this in there. It's just too ugly. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of Vinny International version this morning, okay? I want you to go there in your mind's eye a little bit. Go with me, okay? And if it's not scriptural, go and ask Pastor Nimesh after this. All right, so this is how it works. I think this is how they fought, all right? So Adam and Eve, right? They're walking out of the garden. They got kicked out of the garden. And he's walking, and he's like, man, it was so cool. I could be naked all the time. I didn't have to wear this itchy clothing. And he's just walking and walking. And then he's looking over at Eve, and he's like, hey, I noticed that you've been walking for a long time. And, I was wondering, are you hungry? And she was like, oh, I just thought that you wouldn't really care because, all that things happened. I didn't really think you were going to ask me. But, yeah, I'm kind of a little famished. And so he's like, so what kind of food do you want this morning? Fruit. And she's like, hey, why'd you got to say it like that? Why you got to say it like that? Well, I don't know, because you seem to be really good at eating fruit. And you're really good at finding those trees that you're not really supposed to touch, Eve. So I'm just saying, if you're hungry, go eat a fruit. And this time, check it for, not like last time. And she's like, what? But I'm thinking everybody always supports Adam because they're like, oh man, he has the right to be angry. But to be honest with you, I think Eve has more of a reason to be angry with Adam, okay? All right, so I want you to imagine this, okay? Because this is how Adam was, if you think about it. It's like Adam, like a cop comes and knocks at your door. Daniel comes and knocks at your door, all right? And the first thing you say, he goes, hey, good morning. And the first thing you say, she did it. She did it. All right, that's the first thing that comes out of your mouth. That's exactly how it was, because here is Adam, and he goes, that woman, it was not even Eve. He goes, that woman you gave me did this, right? And so, first of all, this is what I would have done. If I was Eve, I would have been a little bit wound up, right? So I would have been like fighting like this. I would have been like, first of all, I'm sorry I ate the fruit, but you don't got to throw me under the bus like that. Have you guys ever, can you imagine going through this in our head? Come on. I know that I was a little bit hungry, so were you, but just saying. And then, excuse me, point number 2, woman? Honey, no. I know you knew my name last night, but when we were praising God, but what I'm just saying is you better get it right, Adam. I'm going to come for your throat. Can you see it? They were fighting, right? They both had the reason to fight, but you would think that it would end there. No, what happened? It goes to the next generation, all right? And the first murder, who was the first murder? Cain and Abel, the siblings, the offsprings of Adam and Eve. The enemy is after your family. If he can't turn you away from God, he's going to make you turn on your family. Are you following me this morning? So I want you to help you not to avoid it, but I want to get you through it. And there are a couple of steps we're going to take this morning. And the first step I'm going to tell you is the hardest. And people do not want to take the first step. Okay, here we go. Take a deep breath. Okay, first breath. Okay, here we go. The first point is forgiveness. Ouch. Nobody wants to do this because it's so hard because I believe that people don't have the right idea of what forgiveness truly is. But I believe that people are so hurt by mother-in-laws and sisters and husbands and wives and brothers, and they don't know how to deal with it, and they have this hurt. But the first step you can do is forgiveness. And so I got a question for you today. The first one is, I know that a lot of people will be going, how do we forgive? But how do we forgive a family member? Well, we're going to find this out in Matthew 18:21-22 in a few minutes here. We're going to hear this conversation between Peter and Jesus. Okay, here we go. Verse 21. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often will my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times. Now, 7 is a very symbolic number in the Bible. It means perfection. So what he was truly asking Jesus is, do I really forgive him? Like give him a hug and go all out, right? And that's what he was asking. And this is how Jesus responds. He says, I do not say to you 7 times, but 77 times. Here's the first thing that forgiveness is not, okay? Because in order for me to define forgiveness to you, I have to define what it's not. Because I got to rewire everything. Okay, number 1, forgiveness is okay. All right, now you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Many of us, whenever we go through something in life, we always say, it's okay. And that does not mean forgiveness. It's not okay is not forgiveness. Don't say it's okay. Say, I forgive you when somebody does something. Because when you say it's okay, you're telling the other person that what you did wasn't a problem. You can keep doing it again and again. Forgiveness does not mean pretending that you're not hurt. Forgiveness is saying what you did to me is not okay. It wasn't okay that you did that to me. It wasn't okay that you said that to me, but I choose to release you. That's what forgiveness is. And here's the second part of why you shouldn't say it's okay. Every time someone says, hey, it's okay, it's a shared fault becomes your fault. In any conflict, especially in families, there's always going to be both parties that are wrong. They might have done something. He did something, she did something. They did something. You probably did something. But when you constantly say it's okay, you're basically saying, none of this is your fault. It's all my fault. And without realizing it, you start carrying it in your life, your relationships. You start taking it into work. Let me even tell you a quick example. You walk on the road, on your side of the road, and somebody bumps you, and what do you say? Oh, I'm sorry. I want to tell you that's what you do, and you end up carrying that kind of mentality throughout your life. But I want to free you of something this morning. Stop apologizing for the things that took 2 people to make happen. Because you're carrying that with you throughout your life. And that's not forgiveness. You got to acknowledge that person and you say, I'm not perfect. I wasn't the perfect husband. I wasn't the perfect wife, son, daughter, but we didn't get here by myself. 2 people did this, and so we're going to need 2 people to fix it. Are you following me this morning? All right, so forgiveness does not excuse the offending behavior, but it does forgive the offender, okay? Moving on. Forgiveness is not, don't do it again, all right? You know what I like about Peter here? He is my Bible boyfriend. But what he says is when somebody did something wrong, he calls it sin. He's saying it's a sin and it's not okay. But he asked these 2 questions that I liked. The first one, he says, Lord, how often should I forgive this person? But that's not the one question that he actually asked. He also asked, how often will my brother do this to me? And Jesus gives us one sentence to answer both of his questions. 7 times 70. In other words, you can't wait for the other person to be perfect to forgive them. They're going to sin right again. They're going to come against you again. So you got to forgive them right there where they are, because here's the issue. You need them to be if you need them to be perfect when you forgive them, then you're going to have to be perfect when they forgive you. Wow, Pastor Wee, that was so awesome. Can you repeat that again? Yes, I can. All right, so you gotta forgive them right where they are. And you need to be perfect when if you need them to be perfect when you forgive them, then you're gonna have to be perfect when they forgive you. So can you be perfect? No. But do you need forgiveness? Yes. So then you need to extend forgiveness if you want that same forgiveness. Forgiveness is so important. The next point, forgiveness is not passive-aggressive punishment, okay? Now, I was like, man, should I even put this point in there? I'm like, I might have to explain this to them for them to understand. But then I thought, but you know who would know what this means? Yeah, I'm going to keep it there. All right, so picture this, a husband and wife. And the wife is super mad. And she's mad at something that the husband did, and he didn't say sorry. Because, he doesn't know what he really did or something. He didn't explain it. And so she's really, really upset. And so he's like trying to figure her out all day. And then he goes, are you mad? And she's like, nope, I'm fine. Have you guys been there? I know some of you are like, oh man, that's me. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. Keep doing what you're doing right now. And so the husband's like, are you sure? You look a little bit mad. She goes, no, I'm not mad. See, one of the most passive aggressive things that you can say sometimes is, I forgive you. You know that time, right? When you ask somebody forgiveness, you're like, I'm so sorry. I am. And then they go, I forgive you. I forgive you. You know what they're thinking. They're going, man, they're gonna hurt me some way, somehow, sometime, even when I'm sleeping, maybe. This is not me and you, honey. It's not you. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, I'm just clarifying you. Okay, so here's what I'm saying passive aggressive punishment is. It's when someone hurts you, and in your mind, the way to make it right is by hurting them back. You hurt me, I gotta punish you. Now, here's what it is. So if you're taking notes, write this down. Another person's punishment will never heal your pain. Making someone else pay for what they did will never make your situation or you any better. The only time that ever worked was Jesus Christ on the cross when he died for you. And that is the only time it worked, and you ain't Jesus. So here's what forgiveness is now, okay? Now that we're this far. Okay, this is going to be tough, okay? But here's what forgiveness is. It means to release debts, okay? The actual Greek definition of this word is aphasis. All right, isn't that cool? Aphasis. All right, you learned Greek today. Okay, aphasis means release of debt. It's literally a financial transaction that the Bible is talking about. So it's basically like debt forgiveness. You've heard those like 1-800 debt relief. Yeah, it's like one of those. But this one is authentic. It's like complete debt is gone. So I want you to, I want you to see what it means to hold on to unforgiveness, okay? I want you to imagine this with me. Okay, raise your hand if you've ever lent somebody some money. Okay, all right. Now, raise your hand if you've ever lent somebody some money and they never paid you back, but you had to hang out with them. Okay. Oh, wow. And all the parents are like, yes. All right. So, yeah. So, here's how it is, right? Imagine this. I owe somebody, and this really did happen. This guy owed us $600, okay? And we took them out we went out to hang out. And the guy comes and goes, hey, would you like some filet mignon? Oh, let me add that. Oh, would you like some dessert while we're out there? And I'm like, let me tell you what I really want. I want my money back. But I didn't say that, right? Because passive aggressive, that's how it works, right? And so you stay quiet, and the whole time you're eating, you're going, so we're really not going to talk about this? We're really not going to... You got some food stuck in your mouth. We're really not going to talk about this? And then so I want you to realize that's how it is when you're living with unforgiveness, right? That's not how you deal with a person every single day in your life, and you're acting like everything is cool, and the whole time in your head you're thinking, so we're really not going to be talking about this? We're going to pretend that everything is okay? Forgiveness is a release of debt. Number 2, forgiveness is this. It's someone else paying the debt that they owe, okay? Ephesians 4:32 is where we're headed. Verse 4:32 says, be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as in Christ forgave you, okay? Okay, we won't understand how forgiveness works if you don't understand who Jesus is and what Jesus did for you. Because I'm not forgiving that person because they asked me. I'm not forgiving them because I wanted to. I'm forgiving them because of what? Because of Jesus. Let me ask you a question, okay? Whose sin did Jesus die on the cross for? I can't hear you. Us. Okay, some of you even said mine. All right, here's news flash for everybody. Jesus didn't just die for your sin. He died for everybody's sin. The other offender's sin also. So it's like whenever we try to hold somebody with unforgiveness, it's like trying to get somebody to pay a bill that has already been paid for. Jesus has already paid for it. Now, it might change the way that you deal with them afterwards. You might not loan them the money anymore. Our relationship might be the dynamics might be changed a little bit. But you know what? We're good. That's how it works. They might have not paid you back, but God paid for it 2,000 years ago on Calvary. We're good. So you might not look at the way that person is, the same way, but we're good because Jesus did it already. So if you don't understand who Jesus is and what he did for you, you're always going to be waiting for that person to pay you back, but they can't because Jesus paid it back for them. So we have to confront unforgiveness, not with that bracelet, what would Jesus do? How many has had that? I had that. I had like 3, 4, okay? But I was sitting there thinking about it. We have to confront unforgiveness not with a what would Jesus do, but with the deeper truth of what has Jesus already done for us when it comes to unforgiveness. Here's the last one here. Forgiveness is a process. It's a process. Somebody's probably in here like, Pastor V, I already forgave my dad. 15 years ago, I got in counseling, and I already forgave him. I walked through the whole steps, Pastor V. Don't tell me that you still don't get triggered even now. Don't tell me that it hasn't really affected you even now. Like maybe you go to work and the boss is like asking you something and you're just like, man, you're just like my dad. And you just walk away and the boss is like, all I asked for was a stapler. That's all I wanted, man. I didn't know. Because guess what? We can forgive all the time, but we still got a memory. And so forgiveness is a process. Every time I feel like you owe me, I go back to the fact that Jesus Christ paid your debt. So it's not over, and it's not just over with one time. It's an over and over and over, and it's a process. So here's my next question for you that you might be pondering is, how do I forgive? No, I just answered that. But here's the second question is, how do I fix it? Like, okay, now I realize I need to forgive, but how do I fix it? How do I fix it? Because forgiveness takes the place in our heart, but can you forgive somebody and still not be cool with them? So we can forgive somebody, but we can't really hang out. But you really want to because they're your family. And it should work and it should be tight. And we are sitting there going, man, I'm still upset with you, but I want to fix it. So here's another word that the Bible uses. Not just forgiveness. It's another word called reconciliation. Now, reconciliation is a lot more different than forgiveness, okay, for 2 reasons. Number 1, you can't fix it until you forgive it, okay? A lot of people don't want to go through the hard work of forgiving it, but instead they want to fix it. Here's a quick example. Husband and wife has kids, and they got issues at the home. And so what they say is, okay, look, we're not going to deal with our issues right now, but when the kids grow up and they leave the house, then we'll deal with our issues. Then we'll come back to that. See, that is not forgiveness. And that is basically saying, I'm not going to forgive you and let's just try to fix it. Okay, so that's that difference. It's the family members that you can't stand, but y'all got this unspoken rule, and then you go, don't call me, don't text me, but we'll hang out only for Christmas. And this is it. This is how our relationship's going to work. That's how you explain it. You know what that is? I can't forgive it, but let's try to fix it. You can't fix it until you forgive it. Point number 2. Here's the second disclaimer about reconciliation. And this one's a tough one, okay? This is a tough one. Okay. It's going to take 2 to fix it. Forgiveness requires 1 person, but reconciliation takes 2. See, forgiveness will say, because forgiveness is like, I don't really need them to be dead or alive for me to forgive them. But reconciliation takes 2. It takes 2 people. So with reconciliation, it requires 2 people. And this really breaks my heart that there are some families that are splintered that will never be fixed. Man, Pastor, church sucks today. Where's the hope? Where's the answer? Hey, look, I could fluff it up all you want. I can make it sound all good, but I want to be real with you all today. Because it takes 2. So even if you do your part, some things just take 2 people to fix. Let me give you an example. This week, I had to put up the Christmas tree with my husband. Okay, now you know that Pastor V is a little bit over. I always do it over too much, okay? So we got like a 15-feet tree? A 15-feet tree in our house. And so I have gotten on this big, gigantic ladder, all right? So I'm putting this tree as I go, and the last piece, it is humongous, okay? It's like trying to lift something up. So I'm going like this, grabbing, I'm like, ah! Then I go, and I actually drop this thing twice, and 3rd time, all right? And so at one point, I was like, man, I just can't do this, right? Put that picture up. And so I'm up there on that ladder. Finally, Nimish gets up and he's like, all right, Let me help you. So I actually was holding the tree in one side with the weight, but at the same time, I couldn't reach to get other things by myself. He had to come over and grab things for me so that he can help me and support me. If I had done that by myself, I could never fix that tree by myself. And if I kept trying to carry that tree on the top, it would have crushed me to death. However you take the other person, if you take the other person out of that mixture, right? If I take Pastor Nimesh, it's a great image of how reconciliation looks like when there's only one person trying to fix it. So many people look like me, right? Without him there, trying to hold up that tree. You're the fixer in the family. You're that child that has always fixed everything. You're that child that has always been like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And you're the family healer. You're the one that everybody comes to. You go to church. You can handle my issues. But you might be strong, but everybody's strength gives out at some point. You can't hold this by yourself. If something needs to be fixed, it has to take two people to fix it. So I'm going to give you permission as your pastor. Are you ready to deal with this, okay? When you got an issue where you're holding up everything, here's my permission to you. Let it go. Just let it go. And I'm not going to sing the song, okay? I'm singing it in my head. I'm not singing it, okay? But just let it go. You can't do it by yourself. Reconciliation requires two. And if you try and lift up that weight, the whole family, I know that you got good intentions, but you can't. It's going to crush you. You've got to take care of yourself. I'm going to go to 2 Corinthians 5:18. Here's what it says, how to reconcile the right way. Okay, this is what it says. All this is from God, who through Christ reconciled, past tense, us to himself and gave us a ministry of reconciliation. You know as believers that your job is to initiate reconciliation. Here's your other question that I have for you. Well, Pastor V, I want to reconcile, but what do I do? If you're taking notes, here we go. Number one, you got to be the one that initiates. Because if you are a believer, you got to remember Jesus did this for you, so therefore you have to do this for others. So I'm going to make that phone call. I'm going to have that hard conversation. I'm going to have those crucial conversations where I say, I love you, but we need to talk about this. We haven't been intimate. I'm going to talk about this. We haven't been talking for years. We need to talk about this. I'm going to initiate this because you need to be the initiator for this to work out in reconciliation. Let's look at what the scripture says again, okay? All this is from God, who through Christ reconciled. That means God started it, us to himself, and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That means it's a present perfect word. What it means is it's still happening. Let me make it simple for you. There's one person who has to start it, and the other person is still waiting for someone else to finish it because it's still going on even to this day. And so here's another point. You can't force somebody else to fix it. Okay. Now, if I had forced Pastor Nimesh to come up those ladders with me and lift that up, he just had a surgery. Okay. If he lifts that up, it's going to mess up for him. He's going to get hurt, and it's going to hurt the whole family. I can't force him to fix it, but you know what can happen? What I can hope for is that somewhere a couple of weeks down, when he's inviting his coworkers into our house, and then he realizes, oh wait, the Christmas tree is half done. He's going to be like, okay, well, I'm ready to work on this. Let's go and fix it. That's when I can say, okay, let's fix it. Here's my point. You can't make someone want to fix something they don't want to fix. Only life can make that happen. Only when life happens, that's when, God willing, that family member is going to be like, man, I'm so stupid. Babe, can I get water? I'm so stupid. I should have been doing this. I'm ready now. In the meantime, you do what Jesus did. You let go that matters. And you get ready and you say, God, just like you died on the cross, I'm going to die to my purposes and my issues, and I'm going to wait. Because you know what? Jesus is still waiting for many to turn to him, even today, after what he's did. So why don't you, while you're waiting for the other person, wait for them in a way where you're like Jesus and wait there for him? Okay, that's one point. Here's another question. Maybe you have this issue of, okay, well, what do I do when they don't want to reconcile? What happens when they don't want to fix it with me? I'm glad you asked, because here's what it is. How do we move forward when they don't want to reconcile? And can I get my music here? And so The answer is boundaries. All right? So I'm going to try to draw. God help you guys. All right. I'm not that gifted in drawing. All right. So here it is. I'm going to try to do this right. Okay. This is you. This is your house. Oh my gosh, I'm a horrible drawing person. Okay, that is your house. Okay? How do you know this is you? Because you have the deed to this property. Okay, this is yours. You're in control of this place right here. And you have only control over that, nobody else. This is your family member's house. And they have a really crooked house because they're not good at keeping their house. Okay, and their house is there. This is another house. Okay, this is a really, really ghetto house, okay? This is going to be a ghetto house. All right, so we got your house right here. This is you. Now, if that person over there and says, go ahead and paint your house purple, that doesn't mean you have to do that, because you're in control of this house. This is your property. That's their property. This is your other person's property. You don't have control over anything that's happening there. You have control over only what happens in your property. And so you have to have self-control, which is one of the fruits of the Spirit. What? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith, gentleness, and what? Self-control. So self-controls. You don't control me and I don't control you. So this is you, okay? Is that coming together a little bit here? So this is what this means. If you yell, I don't have to yell because this is my property. So if you decide to disrespect me, I don't have to disrespect you because I have control over my property, not yours. Okay? So if you go, hey, you know what? You're going, man, you can't give me any joy. Well, I'm sorry in our marriage that we came in with an expectation of each other giving joy, but actually it's only Jesus who can give you joy in a relationship. But I'm going to take care of my property, and I'm going to let Jesus fill me. I'm not responsible for your property. Are you following me a little bit here? Okay? Sometimes you might have family members who have that little house that's really not well maintained, okay? And they have a tree on their property, and life happens, and the tree just breaks, and the branches fall into your property. It all falls in there. So their problem is now your problem. And you're dealing with their problems. This is what that is, okay? When one person comes into your property without permission, what is that called? Trespassing, okay? The Bible calls that an offense. Matthew 6:14 is, for if you forgive others their what? Trespasses. You're not supposed to do this to me. You're not supposed to be in this area, but let me just make this simple for you. Trespassing is when you start paying the consequences of other people's bad decisions. So I take care of myself. I take care of my family. I take care of it because I have a job. I studied. I went to college. But you don't got a job, and I open up my house for you, but then you end up taking full advantage of my house and my funds. I'm at a point where I don't have money to feed my child. That's called trespassing because I'm not able to, I'm paying for your consequences. I know I'm supposed to love you and your brother, but when you come up showing that you're drunk at my house and you threw up and I'm cleaning up after you, that's me dealing with your consequences. I know that you're my sister, but I can only bail you out of jail so many times because I keep spending my time, my energy, and so many of what I have. And that means because of your bad decisions in life, it's affecting my life. So what do you do in this situation? I tell you what you do is boundaries, okay? So the boundaries, here's what it is. This right here is your boundary. This right there, okay? That is your boundary. And whether you have to communicate, whether you can reconcile or not, cool. We're not going to be able to work things out, but here's what I want to do. We want to move forward is what you would communicate with the other person. So the next time your branch lands on my property, here's the line. In other words, let me make it more practical, okay? I can't loan you money, but I love you, but I can't loan you money anymore. But that's my line. This is my boundary. I will not loan you money. I know you got a ton of kids, and I can't keep providing for your kids and starve my kids. You should have planned better. So I'm sorry. Here's my boundaries. I can't let you in my boundaries. I know that they are your grandkids, and you can come in anytime you want, but here it is. This is my boundary. I want you to realize that they're my kids, and you instill these kind of values that I want you to do based on the Bible, and not just whatever that you decide. These are my boundaries. I know I was your daughter, I am your daughter, but now I got a husband, and we got this thing that we got going on, and I have boundaries. I need to take care of what's going on here, because I can't control your issue. So if I can't control your issue, I'm no longer going to let your issues control me. So sorry, we got to move forward. And if you want to, and I can't let you control those part of me. So write this down if you're taking notes. This will free you. I am responsible to you, but I'm not responsible for you, right? I am responsible to communicate. I'm responsible to forgive. I'm responsible to love. I'm responsible to serve, but I'm not responsible for your property. You got to take care of your life so that I can take care of mine, because I need to protect me. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. You got to protect yourself. You know, when they get on the airplane, what do? Okay, when the mask falls, what do you do first? Take care of yourself first before you put the mask on somebody else. You keep wanting to be Jesus in your family, but guess what? Jesus died. He rose again because he was the Son of God, but you ain't Jesus. So you better make sure you're okay so you can help people and take care of yourself. Jesus lived this out so many ways in his life. He didn't just have 12 disciples. He had 72, he had 12, and then he had 3. He had boundaries of who he let inside of his house. But listen carefully. I want to be very clear this morning, okay? And not only do I need to protect you, but I want a relationship with you. You're not saying, hey, you know what? I have boundaries. I quit. I don't want to have a relationship with my spouse. I quit. I'm done with my parents. No, that's not how it works. You want to have a relationship. When I'm talking about boundaries, I'm not talking about big walls. I'm talking about fences where you can see through, where you can actually go through and see and have a relationship with me. Listen carefully. I'm not telling you to build walls, build fences. It's how you save your marriage, not end it. It's how you reconcile with God, not expel him out of your life. I need to protect me, but I also want a relationship with you, so that this is the best way I can do that in life. I want to do something very intimate here this morning, and I want to do a little bit of a group therapy. Can we do that this morning? All right? Can we stand to our feet for a moment, folks? I want you to take a moment and think through. I know I've shared a lot with you this morning, but I believe God really wants us to forgive in our life. Out of all the steps that I gave you, forgiveness and reconciliation, boundaries, there's 2 that you need another person for, but there's 1 that you only need yourself for, and that's forgiveness. You don't have to do it with everybody else, but you need it for yourself. So if you could just take a moment and close your eyes, and take a moment and think about somebody that you have not forgiven. You can't tell me that there's nobody that has ever not hurt you. An ex-husband, an ex-wife that you're still mad at, even though the papers are yours filed away. I want you to visualize that person in your mind. And don't tell me that nobody has ever hurt you. Maybe they didn't even mean to, but some of you are like, well, I don't even have family right now, Pastor V, but let me tell you, family can hurt even in their absence. There's offenses that happens even in their absence, and they hurt. So you have that person visualized. Here's what I want you to do right now this morning. Are you ready? If you have somebody in your mind right now, just for a moment, just lift your hand really quick. Don't worry about anybody else. Just lift your hand for a moment if you have that person visualized, so I can get an idea of how many people, okay? So if you have somebody in your mind, father, son, whoever it is, mother-in-law, there's hurts that you've been dealing with. Just lift your hand for a moment, okay? And I want you to just close your eyes, keep your eyes closed, and just say, God, I release that debt. God, I release that debt. keep those eyes closed and just say, God, I release them right now. Not because of what they did, but because of what Jesus did. The Holy Spirit empowers us to forgive even when we can't forgive. When our flesh is saying, no, that's just too much hurt. The bill has been paid. The tab has been covered. Christ has reconciled and he paid it for it, and he's already forgiven. So you're releasing that debt this morning. You're releasing that debt from your parents, from your dad, your mother, your sister, your brother. You're releasing that debt from your uncle who shouldn't have touched you the way he touched you, or that person that touched you when they shouldn't have touched you. You're releasing that debt, and you're saying, son, I'm going to release my daughter this morning. I'm releasing my son this morning. I'm releasing the debt. Forgiveness, I just pray, fills this room this morning.